This morning, Mexico's consulate in Florida is working to support a community of farm workers after a highway collision killed 8 people and injured 40 others Tuesday. Brian Howard was arrested by Florida Highway Patrol after the crash and charged with 8 counts of DUI manslaughter. In Howard's first court appearance this morning, he requested a public defender, and a request for bond was denied. Well, maintaining your lawn and tending to your garden can provide you with lovely sights and smells, but the physical toll on your body isn't so lovely. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has some tips to take the pain out of caring for your yard.
Green grass, flowers, and vegetables. A well-maintained yard leads to beautiful results, but it can be physically challenging to get it looking that way. Fortunately, there are ways to make yard work easier on your body. You can start by mowing your lawn less frequently.
Taller grass is healthier. It's good for your lawn and it's good for you too.
Consumer Reports experts recommend cutting your grass to no less than 3 to 4 inches. And when weeds sprout up, consider leaving them alone. Weeding is physically demanding, and you'll help nature too.
A lot of times weeds can be really good food for those native pollinators, bees and butterflies. So embracing weeds can be good for your sanity and the environment.
In the garden, opt for perennial plants over annual since you don't have to replant them every year.
A big thing with this is making sure you go with native species, native to your area, because those are well adapted to your environment. And so they're generally also lower maintenance, require less water and things like that.
If getting down on the ground is difficult for you, think about installing raised flower and vegetable beds.
You can sit in a chair or on a bench or something like that comfortably rather than getting down on your knees.
And upgrade your gardening tools to more ergonomic options.
An example is like ratchet style pruning shears. They don't require, as much hand strength to actually make the cuts.
Lastly, be sure to get up, move around, and stretch every so often.
At your desk, it's a good idea to get up every half hour, move around for a little bit. The same is true when you garden. Whatever position you're in, stop yourself after half an hour, get up and take a break.
Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, still ahead, plant and garden expert Craig Hignight is in the studio with us. Head to the WQAD Facebook page right now and get your questions ready. He's going to answer all of them coming up next.
You're watching GMQC at 11 on WQAD.
So I broke the camera in there.
Something happened. I don't know. Ooh, am I in the right spot?
I don't know.
there.
Welcome back. It's Wednesday. That means plant and garden expert Craig Hignight joining us live in studio to answer all your burning questions. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, our first question. When can I put out my indoor plants?
I think from this forecast that we just saw, it's just about any time now. Remember, when you put them out, they've been in the house just like we have, and they will sunburn. So you have to get them used to the sun gradually, but I think it's time that we can start moving plants outside.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially the forecast. It's looking pretty warm, so I think we're safe at this point. This is from Janine. My begonia did really well over the winter in the house. Now it's back outside. The leaves are turning red. Should I cut it back?
Well, depending on how big it is, it might be time for a little cutback. Take it back by about a third. There should be new growth that comes up from the bottom. And yes, like I said, it's just reacting to the higher light that it's getting now that it's outside.
All right, we've got a second question from Chad. He wants to know, where should I keep my elephant ear bulbs outside?
Elephant ears like plenty of light, so you want to pick an area that is very sunny and make sure that it's close to a water source. They love their water, so if you're going to have to hand carry water, don't get them too far away from the house.
This is from Gary. What is the best shade-loving plant to grow under an oak tree?
Oh, I think the impatiens, coleus should do very well there. If you're looking for perennials, you could go, of course, with hostas, coral bells, things like that. Talk to your local nursery person, and they can give you a lot of good suggestions.
All right, someone texted this into us. Our lilac bushes are done blooming and the flowers are turning brown. Is this the time to start cutting the flowers off and trimming the bushes?
Yes, now is the time. Immediately after bloom, at the very least, take off the flowers. You don't want any energy going into seed production. And if you have to shape the plant up, go ahead and do it right now. Remember, they set their buds early for next year. If you wait too long, you're cutting off next year's flowers.
And this is a meaty one from Arlen. They have 9 peach trees.
Ooh, yum.
And this year, for the first time, we had 0 buds or blossoms. Other trees had good blossom, and they have a set of lots of apples, pear trees, but why no peach blossoms? In past years, we've had blossoms and fruit. Any ideas? Think it must be weather-related somehow.
It's his fault.
Uh-oh.
No, we did have some very warm weather early on, and then we had some frost. And I've had several people tell me that a lot of trees have just not set as much fruit as they normally would. I think this is purely weather related. I hope you got out and got your pruning done. Never miss a year in pruning on those fruit trees.
Interesting. All right, this one is from Dawn. Can we use heavy duty woven garden fabric weed barrier for creeping vincas, I think that is? Or what else can we use to keep the weeds out of them?
Well, really, I don't like the idea of the weed mat under vinca. The whole idea is to let it root down as it creeps out from its central clump. I would much rather have preen on the bed to keep the weeds from coming back, and then a very light mulch that the vinca can go ahead and root through so it can attach to the ground and spread and give you a nice solid bed of plants.
Speaking of preen, Elaine wonders, is that a damage to trees young or old?
No, preen works by stopping the radicle. That's the first root that comes out of the seed. And when it touches preen, it's gone. So the weed can't grow. As far as established plants, nothing to worry about.
All right, Dean says his crab apple tree is losing its leaves. He wants to know if it's dying.
Well, have you gotten in on your spray program yet? Once the tree has dropped all of its flowers and it's past petal drop, you should be out there using an all-purpose fruit tree spray. And I've had people tell me already that apple scab has started to show up. We've had fairly damp weather for the most part, so disease could be a situation this year. Use an all-purpose fruit tree spray according to the directions on the label.
All right, well, we are taking all your questions through our live stream right now on the WQAD Facebook page. Get those questions in. We'll be right back with Craig after this.
Oh, welcome back into GMQC at 11. It is Wednesday, so Craig Hignight is back with us again, and we got some more questions to throw your way. We left off with Sue. She was wondering what tomato plants are disease resistant.
Okay, your two most disease-resistant tomato plants are Champion and Celebrity. If you've had any problem with diseases in your garden, those are my go-to plants. Champion, Celebrity.
All right, from Denise, how can I get rid of grass that has grown in my trailing? Is this phlox?
Well, you're in luck. There is a product called Over the Top or Grass Beater. It kills only grass. It will not damage any of your broadleaf plants in the border. So that is what you're going to use. Read the label, use it correctly, then give it time. It can take a few weeks for this product to take hold and get rid of the grass.
From Charity, what are the best plants to grow under a pine tree?
Boy, that's a toughie. Pines, for some reason, not many plants grow under there very well. The one thing that I have seen is called bishop's weed. Be ready to keep it under control. It is extremely invasive. Pine trees, because of the heavy shade, a very heavy root system, they compete very well for food and water. I've had many people decide just to put pots under the tree where the plant isn't competing and you have better control over taking care of the plants for the summer.
All right, from Pat, what are some suggestions for keeping bee palm from taking over a flower bed? He says he has the old variety that is 4 feet tall and it spreads fast.
The only thing you're going to do is put some barrier down. Get the bee balm back to the size that you want, and then take an edging that you'd normally be putting along the edge of a garden to keep the grass from crawling in. You put it around the bee balm so that it doesn't crawl out into the rest of the garden.
Vicky says, this year my rhubarb is good, but very small stalks, which are normally thick. Is it because of the excess moisture this year, or could my plants be exhausted?
No, rhubarb does not exhaust. Did you give it a nice dose of organic fertilizer when you first saw growth this year? Are you keeping it mulched to conserve moisture, which has not been a really big problem this year, but usually it boils down to a lack of fertilizer when rhubarb isn't producing well.
Nick wants to know the best time to put fertilizer stakes in the ground next to their shrubs.
Now is the time. We fertilize in the spring, and then we fertilize again in August. So I would be getting those spikes in the ground shortly.
Margie says she bought a petunia from a greenhouse, and it seems like it's adjusting to full sun, and it gets a little droopy during the day. Does that sound normal?
Yes, when it gets really hot, plants, they just can't move water well enough through themselves so that I call it flagging. That's why I always tell people, be very careful about checking your plants, whether they need water in the middle of the day, because they can look really droopy and still not need water.
From Johnny, is there anything to put on strawberry plants to kill weeds? And actually a similar question from Mick, what kills wild strawberries?
Well, for the wild strawberries, you're probably going to use Roundup or poison ivy killer. Should take out the wild strawberry. As far as your strawberry bed, sorry, this is the best weed removal that you've got. And once you get the bed completely clean, make sure that you put down a mulch. A lot of times there is straw left from your winter cover that helps suppress weeds. If it's not there, go ahead and add some mulch, straw mulch to the bed. That way your berries aren't sitting on mud when it rains.
This was sent in via text. I have a lilac tree that did not leaf out this year. When I break a branch on it, there still seems to be some life as they see new green in the wood under the bark. Is there any hope for it next year?
Well, we're hoping that there's hope for it this year. We've had several people come in and their trees started to leaf out and then they just stopped. What it was the late frost that killed off those early leaves. It can take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks for those, what we call back buds, to mature and wake up. So if you're seeing life using the scratch test, that there's still life in the stem, go ahead, give it some time. Mother Nature's just working her magic right now.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of time, that'll do it for our time here with Craig today. Thank you as always for your excellent expertise. As always, you can join our Facebook Live with Craig each and every Wednesday. There you can submit your questions and be part of the conversation. We'll be back in just a few minutes.